that was a disaster by the Phillies this weekend. That was a disaster. I mean, they got swept at home by the Milwaukee Brewers, who are a decent team, nothing special, coming off the loss last Thursday in the second game to the Braves. They haven't played well in a week now. And I know some people we'll see. I have a feeling what Hugh Douglas is going to say. But we have some people, they're going to try to sugarcoat this today. No big deal. It's just a couple days.
See, why do you do that, Joe?
Because
why
I know.
do you do that? Why does it have to be sugarcoated?
Because it is sugar. What we saw this weekend was obviously a big deal. What we saw this weekend, Hugh, was the stuff that could destroy this team in this season. All their weaknesses came out all at once. Their bullpen, we know, stinks. Their defense, we know, stinks.
Somebody say something about defense.
Yeah, we'll get to the shortstop, all right? Yeah. And then the lineup, which obviously needs another bat here, without Bryce Harper this weekend, was ice cold. Hugh, what did you think this weekend? As the Phillies, I mean, they're usually so good at home, and the Brewers came in here, slapped them around. That Saturday game was ridiculous. I mean, Rhys Hoskins, after we talked about it all day on Friday, comes in here, hits 2 home runs on Saturday, and then yesterday a very winnable game into the bullpen, and the defense got involved. What did you think this week?
Yeah, shout out to the lady that I saw yesterday at the Eagles women's event that said something about the fact that we needed Rhys Hoskins here before the game started.
Well, she's right.
You know what I find ironic is that the defense was one of the biggest problems that we had with this team this weekend.
What else is new?
Well, and that's what basically I talked about when we talked about getting Rhys Hoskins here. Now, I understand that the bat would have helped out tremendously. And the week prior, before the Brewers got here, bats looked like they were doing their thing. But to me, defensively, that's where the problems lie. You talk about some of the errors in the outfield. You talk about the Trey Turner error that basically cost him the game yesterday. Like, there was a lot going on yesterday. So, to answer your question in long form, Joe, am I worried about it, concerned about this team? No, I'm not. This is the ebb and flow of baseball. Because it's just funny to me, just a couple days ago, we were talking about how great this team was and how great they looked, and then they have a tough weekend. They just need to get it together. This was not an acceptable weekend, but they just need to get it together.
Well, they do need to get it together. Look, Bryce Harper coming back probably tomorrow night in Toronto will help, certainly. And look, 3 games in the standings in one weekend. The Mets have now taken back over first place. That's going to go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
They're in a division race with the Mets. I expect both teams to be there the whole time. I think that is what it is. I'm not losing my mind today because they're not in first place on June 2nd. My concern is, and why I think this weekend was a big deal, is, Hugh, I'm going to steal a phrase from you. They're pretty much done with the tomato cans. Between now and the All-Star break, they only play 2 bad teams. They play the Pirates this coming weekend. They play the Marlins in June. That's it. I mean, everybody else they're going to play is a pretty good or very good team. So we're done with the tomato cans portion of this thing, and now we saw them play a real team, and they got beat up. I mean, Saturday was really bad with the Hoskins home runs and Luzardo. They left him in there to just get rocked. I mean, I couldn't believe how long they left him in there. And then you mentioned the defense and Trey Turner. Let's hear it yesterday as the Phillies have the misplay in left field by Weston Wilson. Not great. And then after that, the ball goes right to Trey Turner. And you know what happened. We've seen the Trey Turner special many times over the years. Here's what happened yesterday late in that game.
The Trey Turner special?
I thought we had the Trey Turner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on
right.
the phone. My bad.
Yeah.
And the pitch. Swinging a ground ball to short. And Turner booted it. And the game's tied. Right at Trey Turner. And he commits his 5th error of the year. And this game starts over 2-2 here in the 7th.
That was on me.
Well, you know what?
You're fine.
We all make errors sometimes. You don't make nearly as many as Trey Turner, who now has 45 errors since he got to the Phillies. And that doesn't even include the ones that aren't called an error, like last month when he didn't step on second base.
You know what it is when Trey Turner does that? And it's because we're fans. It's the look that he has on his face after the fact.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of the look because it just looks. I guess it's it's not a smirk, but it's something. Well, it's the look when you screw up. It's like when your kids mess up, and they do something they're not supposed to do, and it's just that look, that blank look on their face. That's the most irritating thing to me.
Well, what's frustrating is he seems to make these in crucial moments. I mean,
the game finds him.
And the moment finds him because he plays one of the most important positions on the field. Like this weekend, we saw all the flaws the Phillies have that were covered up when they're playing the Rockies and they're playing the Pirates and they're playing the A's. That it's very difficult to win consistently when you have bullpen issues. when you have defensive issues and the lineup. I keep harping on this, and we go back to the Hoskins thing from Saturday. They're missing a bat. I mean, the Phillies are missing a bat in this lineup. Now, this weekend, Hugh, it was even more accentuated because no Bryce, right?
Yeah,
like no Bryce.
When Bryce was, yeah.
So the lineup looks even thinner. I mean, I can't do the Alec Bohm in the middle of the order thing. I mean, that we've seen that story. It doesn't end well. Let's hear from.
He needs to do better.
Well, I'm done holding my breath on Alec Bohm doing better. Alec Bohm.
Wasn't he in the All-Star game last year?
Boy, you're
No.
This is what you're going to give us?
Well, when I say that, what I'm basically saying is, he's here. They believe in him. They need more.
Nobody else does.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. I appreciate that. They need more from him in this lineup. That's what I'm saying.
Do. Of course they do. But he's had a half a great year in the major leagues. Really a couple of good months. I mean, they need another bat. Now, it was, like I said, accentuated this weekend because no Bryce Harper. Let's hear from Topper. What is the latest on Bryce? Because every day we're waiting for this lineup, and every day they put it out there, and there's no Bryce Harper. Here's Topper on when we could see Bryce back.
How did Harper come out of everything?
Good. He wasn't available today, but he feels like, or we feel like he's going to be ready for Tuesday.
All right, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing that he's getting closer because they could have put him on the IL as soon as the injury happened last Tuesday, and that would have knocked him out till, I guess, this coming Friday. So they didn't do that. They've been playing a man down for a little while here. They need Bryce back in a big way. 215-592-9494 was what you saw this weekend. You can go back to the middle of last week when they split that game, that's doubleheader against the Braves. Is it a big deal? It is to me because we're seeing the same themes that were the issues in April, and we're seeing the same themes that we've seen as issues over the years. Like this is what the Phillies are when they play some good teams. It's very choppy sometimes, and when they don't get great starting pitching, they lose games. At least we know the deal. I took the pledge. I'm going to criticize the Phillies today. Hugh Douglas, of course, did not take the pledge.
I did take the pledge,
well,
and I am being critical. I'm just not being. I am not being as knee jerky as you and Kyle. Listen,
I didn't even say anything.
Well, you give it time, Kyle. You enjoy using.
I'm with you. I'm with you today.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad. Wow. I didn't know that was the day. But normally, this is what we do when it comes to baseball. It just seems like yesterday, well, it was Friday, that we were throwing a party for the Phillies. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we were talking about how good they were and how we wanted to add another bat and all this other stuff, and how we were willing to weaken the outfield.
Well, the defense stinks anyway. Did you see Weston Wilson out there yesterday?
Could you imagine if Schwarber was out there?
Yeah, okay. Would he have not caught the ball Weston Wilson didn't catch? He wouldn't have caught it either. Here's what I'm going to make it very simple. Because a lot of people said to me, Joe, how could you say the defense is so bad, but yet you want Rhys Hoskins back? I can't have the status quo. I either need more offense to
offset something.
To offset
you
the
need
defense.
Something, yeah.
Because what they're doing right now, like yesterday, they didn't hit and they didn't play defense. You can't win like that.
It was an ugly day.
Oh,
and another thing I saw, I did not know this, and I guess I'm naive because this is Philadelphia. I didn't know as many people tailgated for Phillies games like that. I did not know because I guess
weekend games more than
because I didn't know that. I did not know that.
You were there for the Eagles.
Yes,
event
for the Eagles women's event. So I was like, wow, they're tailgating. Like I've never seen that before for a baseball game. So I thought it was pretty cool. It wasn't to the extent that it is for football games, obviously, but there were some people out there tailgating. So shout out to the tailgaters yesterday.
215-592-9494. All right, let's go get Kyle's thought on this. Then we'll get everyone's phone calls here. Coming up, 10:30. Brandon Graham is going to join us. Brandon Graham going to join us live here at the Brian Dawkins Golf Outing. So BG's going to hop in at 10:30. Let's start with some Phillies talk and your calls as the Phillies get swept over the weekend by the Brewers. It was the defense. It was the starting pitching. It was the bullpen. It was the offense. It was everything. Kyle, where do you come down? Was what we saw this weekend a big deal?
I think the biggest deal that happened this weekend is that we put the Brewers squarely back in the playoff race.
Not great.
And now the dream of adding Rhys Hoskins, I don't know if it's dead fully, but I don't feel as good about it as I did just before we left for the weekend. But I don't know. I don't think that even, I guess we'll go the 4 games that they just lost, 4 games in a row. We can include that last game against the Braves in there. It didn't tell me anything I didn't already know about the team. I know that Trey Turner sucks on defense. I know the bullpen is shaky at best. And I know that the offense goes hot and cold, and especially it's going to be cold when the best hitter in the middle of the lineup
Is not there.
And, like, I think I would feel a little bit worse if, I think what makes me feel better is that Zach Wheeler and Jesus Luzardo, they had awful games. And it's so rare that Jesus Luzardo and Zach Wheeler, who are up there in the Cy Young voting, well, maybe not Luzardo anymore, but, like, those things don't often happen. They will, you might see it like once a month or once every 2 months or something like that. Like, that's okay, I think, if that happens. It's not ultimately going to kill the Phillies at the end of the day. I know they're now a game back of the NL East, and I know this doesn't sound like pledge talk, but there's a lot of time for them to make that up, and I think they're going to be better. Like, the offense is going to get hot again. Now, am I prepared for a little bit of a stretch here where the offense isn't very hot? Yeah, I am. And even with Harper coming back, like, I think that's a very strong possibility that maybe it takes him a little bit to start getting going the way that he was again. And the offense, we might see these 2-run outings and stuff like that, and they might slump again a little bit. And I don't like it. It's going to be frustrating to watch, but this is the Phillies team that I've come to know during this season, that I've come to know over the past few years. And, like, I think at the end of the day, the way that they played this weekend it's going to be okay. Like, they're gonna end up being fine. We're gonna go back in like a month or two and be like, man, they're playing great again, and then they might go through a slump again. Like, it's gonna happen.
Well, I hope it does. I hope we get back on the hot streak again, because right now, without the tomato cans to feast on, I'm not sure how good they're going to be next month.
It's just a stark contrast.
It is.
From what it was a couple of days ago as opposed to what it was
And
this
look,
weekend.
I think that it's pretty clear what the stark contrast is. When they're playing the Rockies and the Pirates and the A's.
Well, yeah, that's a part of it.
They beat the crap out of those teams, and then they're playing – like, they're 13-15 against teams with winning records this year. The Mets are 18-10. It's a big difference. I mean, that is a big difference against teams above 500. The Phillies – don't play great baseball when they play other great teams. And guess what? To win the World Series, you have to play a good month of baseball against all good teams. 215-592-9494 was what you saw this weekend from the Phils. A big deal.